everybody. I'm Dr. Guzman. I'm a triple board certified internist specialized in sleep and obesity medicine and with training in mind body medicine. So, today I want to talk about something that I see all the time in my patients and something I struggle with myself, and that is emotional and stress eating, that pull towards food when things feel heavy and stressful. I want you to know this from the start that this is not about willpower, it's not about being weak or not being good enough or needing to try harder when it comes to cravings. It's about neurobiology and understanding where emotional eating comes from. Our brain and our nervous system are doing exactly what they were designed to do under stress. And once we understand that, we can start to change and address those patterns with compassion. Emotional eating isn't simply about eating because we're upset or because we're stressed or because we're sad. For many of us, food becomes a way of regulating our nervous system. We've had a long day, maybe we're stressed, overstimulated, tired. We finally sit down and our brain wants reward. And that reward usually is sought as a dopamine release. And the easiest way to get dopamine is with food, something salty, sweet, crunchy, something that's comforting. So that is neurobiology. So the goal today is to understand why that happens, what's going on in the brain, and ways that we can help navigate this response and empower ourselves to feel more confident in managing those cravings when they happen. So the research shows that emotional eaters tend to have a distinct pattern where there's a stronger cortisol stress response to a threat, meaning the hypothalamic pituitary axis, that stress axis, is activated more intensely. And there are changes in the reward system of the brain where the brain seeks more of the dopamine activation in response to stress. So the brain feels stressed, the reward feels blunted, and your body starts searching for something quick that will bring relief immediately, immediate gratification. So those highly palatable foods like sugar, processed carbs, fats, they stimulate dopamine and endogenous opioids, good feeling sensation at the level of the brain. So for me, that shows up as I crave something sweet, often condensed milk, because this is what I used to eat as a treat when I was in Colombia. It comes in little tubes or little tiny cans, and it was put in my lunchbox. It's like your dessert when you're a kid. But for me nowadays as an adult, that feels like home. It's very comforting. Obviously, it's delicious, but I often find myself beating myself up. Like, why did I buy condensed milk? Because I know that the day that I'm stressed, I'm going to reach for it. So it becomes this vicious cycle of stress leads to craving, leads to eating something, which leads to that short-term relief. And for many of us, it leads to beating ourselves up and the shame cycle of why did I do that again? Why do I always reach for that thing? But really, it's our brain doing what our brain is designed to do, which is keep us safe, keep us alive, and keep us in a state of comfort. And so it reaches for that immediate gratification. So cortisol plays a role here where when we're in a state of stress, cortisol levels rise, which means we have more cravings. Our appetite is dysregulated in a state of stress. And we're more likely to have sleep dysregulation, sleep fragmentation, which results in a higher level of hunger hormone like ghrelin, lower levels of leptin, which is the fullness hormone. So all of the stress response really impacts not just at the level of the brain, but also at the level of hormone signals that drive our eating patterns and eating behaviors. So under stress, food literally becomes rewarding to the brain. And over time, that stress contributes to that insulin resistance and metabolic disruption. One of the strongest predictors of emotional eating is trauma, especially emotional abuse in childhood. And that's because the nervous system learned early on that food soothes and that food can help us cope. Food can help us survive. It can help us feel better. Emotional eating is often not about hunger. It's about regulating emotions. And the research shows that the key mechanism is not a lack of awareness. So many of us know that we tend to have stress eating, that we tend to eat or snack more when we're emotionally feeling. It's difficult tolerating that emotional discomfort without finding something to cope with it. There are some tools that have been shown to be most effective. There is a lot that we can do. And the goal is not to never experience emotional eating again. We are emotional human beings, and regulating emotions is part of what we have to do day in and day out. No, it's something that we have to work on each day. Food is one tool that our brain wants to use to regulate, but there are so many other tools. So let's talk about 5 evidence-based strategies. Number 1 being mindfulness, the pause that breaks the pattern. So mindfulness isn't about meditating perfectly or only meditating in a way that's introspective. Mindfulness could be relaxed awareness of the present moment, and that could be in any different setting. That could be walking, it could be sitting outside, it could be laying on the beach and just listening to the waves. It's about being in the present moment and creating a small interruption between the stress response and the autopilot. So next time you feel the urge to snack, you want to pause. You want to ask yourself, am I actually hungry? Am I physically hungry? Or is this an emotional activation? Am I stressed? Is this an emotional component that's driving me to reach for something sweet? That pause is really hard to get to, I'll admit, because we're on autopilot. And the quickest thing that we can get to in terms of relief is what our brain is going to want to do. So we have to be intentional about this pause, but not beat ourselves up when we miss it. So stress, cravings come on really suddenly versus hunger comes on slowly and gradually. And sometimes just naming what that emotional dysregulation is. Maybe I'm stressed, maybe I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm lonely, I'm tired, I'm anxious, I'm exhausted. Whatever the experience is, we want to name it. And then by naming it, we create a separation from it. Oh, it's not that I'm an anxious person that just needs to always reach for something. It's, hey, I'm experiencing this anxiety feeling right now. I wonder where that's from, and I wonder how I can put myself back into a state of self-compassion, self-love, and kindness. Bringing consciousness to the experience is one of the ways that we can break that autopilot. Number 2, this is a skill from acceptance and commitment therapy, which is I'm noticing the urge. One of the most powerful tools is learning to separate yourself from the craving. Instead of saying, I need condensed milk, I want to say, I'm noticing the urge to look for condensed milk, or my brain right now is looking for comfort. I'm noticing that. And that small shift creates a space between the urge and the action so that we have some time to ask, what is this urge trying to do for me? What is this trying to tell me? And the answer usually is, I want relief. I want to feel better. We can ask ourselves next, how else can I give myself that relief? Number 3 is movement. For stress regulation, not for weight loss, not because we ate the thing, now we got to go burn calories. No, we want to work with moving our emotions. Emotions are energy in motion, is something that I've heard said before. And I really like that quote because oftentimes trauma and stress lives in the body and we just have to move it and release some of that tension. So that may mean 10-minute walk in the evenings when we notice that craving or something sweet, salty, crunchy. Go for a 5 or 10-minute walk. Come back and see if you're still feeling it. Because often what happens, you may notice, is that the cortisol went down. You increase your natural dopamine and norepinephrine. Your mood got a little bit more regulated. You spend time outside with fresh air. You come back and suddenly you don't have the craving as much. This could also be dancing. It could also get outside, jumping in the pool, getting into the hot tub, taking a cold bath or a warm bath, whatever you do to calm the nervous system. These are options to separate from the automatic response. So move your body in a way that feels good. Number 4 is urge surfing. And that means that those cravings come in waves. It's not a command. So most of us may feel like, hey, I'm having this craving, I have to act on it right now. But actually, if we pay attention, we'll see that cravings come, they rise, they peak. And if we give it enough time, it tends to fall again. And so that amount of time varies by person, but it may be just 5, 10, maybe 15 or 20 minutes. So set a timer, notice the urge, put a timer on, and come back to it and say, I'm going to ride this wave. I'm going to ride this urge. Let me see what my body continues to tell me as this urge continues. So where do I feel it in my body? Am I noticing it in my taste buds, like I'm craving something sweet? Am I noticing it in a sense of I need to move? I just want something quick. Notice where you feel it in your body, letting it come, letting it pass, observing it, breathing with it, and reminding yourself that, yes, this may be uncomfortable, but it's not dangerous. quick change of scenery, guys. My microphone died, but I wanted to make sure that I share with you the fifth tool and one of my favorites, which is to build a nervous system snack list. So when we're emotionally or stress eating, it's our nervous system saying, I need something. And instead of reaching for food, we can build a menu of regulating activities, and what we reach for any given moment may be different depending on what we need in that moment. So that nervous system snack list may look like 5 slow breaths. It may look like a cup of tea, getting up and walking around your office or your apartment, getting outside and breathing some fresh air, texting a friend or a loved one and telling them, hey, I had a hard day. Can we talk? A cold shower, a hot shower, music that calms you, shaking and dancing, listening to something that relieves stress and moves emotions through the body. Those can be part of your armamentarium of tools that you have when you notice that your brain is reaching for something quick and looking for relief. So it's not about removing food and not having food as an option, but it's about finding different coping strategies that give your brain the same sense of calm and peace and regulation. The bonus one is to stabilize the brain with nourishment. So sometimes we have cravings because we're actually looking for nutrition. Sometimes it's our blood sugar that is causing us to have a craving for something sweet. And instead of focusing on how little sweets can I have or how can I restrict the things that I'm reaching for, we want to focus on how am I supporting my body today? Have I had enough protein today, enough fiber, enough healthy fats? Is my brain, my body asking me for something that I haven't given it? And when we eat enough protein and fiber, we stabilize our blood sugar. Our body is getting the things that it needs, and therefore it's less likely to look for those quick fixes, craves. So here's something I want you to remember that's so important. Emotional eating is not a character flaw. There's nothing wrong with us. It's a learned nervous system stress response. And we can start to work with it. We can start to unlearn it, notice it, not by beating ourselves up or with having shame, but with having skills in our toolbox so that we can pause and we can name what we're feeling and we can choose a more regulating action to rewire our brain to create those new brain patterns of choosing something healthier. And that's neuroplasticity, that's neuroscience, that's healing from the inside out. And that creates sustainable change, a healthier relationship with food, a healthier relationship with our body and with ourselves. So if this was helpful, please subscribe, share, and let me know what other topic you want me to cover next, whether it's related to stress, sleep, or nervous system regulation, or weight health, and improving that relationship with our body and our health. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.